Um, Thank you, Acting Speaker, and I'm very happy to rise to give my contribution on the take note motion for the 26-27 budget. I would like to say a big thank you to the member for Pascoe Vale for his very energetic, enthusiastic and I was going to say long-winded, but very intricate discussion or take note motion on all the big things that have been going on in the budget. He certainly focused on some of the big stuff. You know, every time I've gone through and started to read the budget, there's a song that just gets stuck in my head, and it's the Paul Kelly song, "From Little Things, Big Things Grow." And this budget is really quite like that song for me. When you first look at it, some of the numbers don't seem to be hugely game-changing. You know, 20% rebate on your rego, you know, half price on public transport after the free period's ended, free glasses for kids, and you'd be forgiven for thinking, so what? That's not going to change anyone's life, but I reckon it does. And here's why. Indeed, that rego rebate is up to $186 for one car and $372 if you've got two. And for a family in Hastings or Somerville or Tyab, that's not just a discount, that's a trip to the movies they said yes to instead of no. That's the birthday present they actually bought. That's the dentist appointment they stopped putting off because something else always came up first. Money isn't abstract, it lives in decisions, and this budget is quietly shifting some of those decisions towards a yes instead of a no. And the same thing goes with public transport, because cutting fares in half and making it free for every kid under 18 isn't really a transport policy, it's a cost of living policy. It's saying to the mum in Langwarrin who's watching the price on the Bowser tick over every time she fills the tank, that we can see what this is costing you and we're doing something about it. Might be a little thing, but we're doing something about it. There's $28 million for school uniforms, which saves families $93 on average per application. And I know $93 doesn't sound like much until you're the parent standing in a shop in Bitton trying to work out if you can cover it this fortnight. And then $93 is enormous. It's groceries, it's a pair of shoes, it's one thing less to lie awake thinking about it. You know, there are 13,700 kids who've got free glasses through this government. Kids who can now actually see the whiteboard, whose whole experience of school has changed because someone decided that whether you can see properly shouldn't depend on whether your parents can afford an optometrist. And there are kids across Victoria who are sitting in classrooms right now better off for it. There's breakfast at school for kids who come in hungry. And teachers know which kids those are, they can tell by 9 a.m. And you simply cannot learn on an empty stomach, no matter how good the teacher is or how much you want to. There's $11 million for Get Active Kids vouchers. So another 55,000 families can get their kids into sport, which sounds like a nice thing to have until you remember that sport is where kids learn to lose and try again, where they find the thing they're brilliant at, even if the classroom hasn't shown it to them yet. And no kid in Balnarring, Summers or Hastings should miss that because of a registration fee. In health, it's the same story. $249 million for maternity services in Melbourne's West, where more babies are born than anywhere else in the state. 1,500 extra sonography appointments a year at Joan Kerner. So pregnant women don't have to pay hundreds out of pocket just to know their baby is okay. And $109 million for 45,000 more specialist appointments for children who are sitting on waiting lists right now. They're important things, they're little things. In education, we've spent $20 billion on schools over 12 years, and this budget puts nearly $500 million into kindergartens because the evidence on early childhood is not subtle. What happens in those first years shapes everything that comes after. And free kinder built next to the school so you don't have to do 2 drop-offs across town is not a small thing. It's a gift of time to every working parent in Hastings and Somerville and Balnarring and everywhere else who receives it. And I want to say something about what it means to deliver a budget like this in the times we're in, because the pressures are real and nobody is pretending otherwise. Global uncertainty, rising interest rates, the ripple effects of Donald Trump's trade wars and other wars, hitting prices at the bowser and on the shelf. And these are not excuses. These are the actual conditions that Victorian families are living in right now. And against that backdrop, this government has still found a way to provide real help, targeted help, help that lands in the right places for the right people. I think that deserves to be acknowledged, because it would have been understandable to pull back, to say the environment and the world is too uncertain and we need to wait and see. But instead, the decision was made to lean in, to back Victorian families, even when the global picture is difficult, and to deliver a budget that is responsible. It made choices, responsible choices about where the money goes and who it goes to. And it didn't splash it around for the sake of a headline like some people would like it to. It targeted it at the places where it does the most good, at families who are stretched, at kids who are missing out, at communities that have been waiting, and that takes discipline. It takes a clear sense of what you're actually here to do. And what this government is here to do is make life a little bit more manageable for the people who need it most. And I think when you look at what's in this budget and who it's designed to help, you can see that discipline at work. So some of the big things, I guess, for my electorate is $1.7 million upgrade for Hastings Primary School. And I go to their schools when I give out my Bright Star Award at the end of every year, and every kid is crammed into this very tiny hall. They barely fit in there, and it's not really fit for purpose. So this is a wonderful budget upgrade for Hastings Primary School, and they're very, very excited about it. I'm also very excited about the $6 million for the Early Parenting Centre in Hastings, which the member for Macedon came along and we dug the first bit of dirt up, and now we actually went there and opened it. We missed missed the member not being there. And it looks absolutely amazing. The facility is awesome. It's in Hastings, so local mums and bubs and their dads are going to be incredibly well serviced by all the people, the staff, the nurses that work in the parenting centre. It's very exciting. And of course, a really, really big sum, and so I guess very excited about this, is the $124 million for the continued development of the Victorian Renewable Energy Terminal, which will build the offshore windmills off Gippsland and which will provide clean, green, renewable energy to our communities. And when I go back and think about the Paul Kelly song, Little Things, from Little Things, Big Things Grow, I think about something that I spoke about in my inaugural when I first stood here and made my speech, and that was my desire to bring about a cross-peninsula bus service, something that the community had been asking for 20 or 30 years and had not ever been delivered. And I think about in each budget over the last 4 years, I've got little bits of money just to start to create the ability to progress that project. So in my first year, I got a bit of funding for planning, and in the second year, I got some money for shelters, and the third year, I got some more money for community consultation, and then I got money for the bus. And I'm very, very excited to say that the cross-peninsula bus service, which was a dream when I ran, which has been something that my community have been asking for a long time, the rubber will be on the ground early July. So it means if you live in Hastings, you do not have to spend, I won't go there, but I agree, you don't have to jump on the bus in Hastings and go all the way into Frankston and change bus and then go into Mornington, and that takes an hour and a half to 2 hours depending. So this bus will go from the top of High Street down into Hastings, out through Tyab, and then turn left and go straight into Mornington. And I believe, I haven't been on the bus yet, I'm looking forward to the very first trip, but I believe that should take 30 to 40 minutes instead of an hour and a half to 2 hours. So that's little steps. Just the little steps that we make as members of Parliament. Every day we advocate for our communities, and I always think it's the small things that we do every day and that we keep on. We have the passion, the dream, the desire, and the commitment to continue to chip away, that we actually get some of these big things. And certainly I've worked with several ministers to make some of these things happen, and I'm incredibly grateful for the support and work that they have shown me, but also by showing me that the support, they've also shown my community that support. Paul Kelly's song doesn't end with everything solved. We've got lots more work to do. It just keeps walking. And that's sort of the point, because change doesn't arrive in one big announcement. It accumulates, it compounds, it shows up in the school bag that's got everything in it this year, in the kid who can see the board, in the family that made it to the footy on the weekend because the train was cheap enough and they didn't have to think twice about it. This is what this budget is about, and where Labor priorities are. From little things, big things grow. I won't sing it, Deputy Speaker. It's too late. I commend this bill to the House.